We're live. Yes?
Yep. It's our
All right, cool.
weekly update.
Yay. Okay, so I'll add browser to screen. What are we talking about today?
So I guess the sort of most interesting thing this week is that we've started adding a lean publishing tip of the day to the newsletters. So we have a lean publishing daily newsletter. You can sign up for it if you go to our homepage at leanpub.com. You'll find a link kind of in a little banner near the top about how to sign up for it. Every day you'll get a bunch of deals, secret coupons, and things like that. But now you'll also get this lean publishing tip of the day. These will mostly be useful for authors, but they will also occasionally be useful for readers as well. Every Leanpub reader is also a potential Leanpub author. So hopefully seeing these tips will sort of entice people who otherwise might not have had the inspiration to write a book, feel the inspiration to do so. These tips also are published as blog posts. And I'm also doing a daily kind of, 5 to 10 minute live stream at 1 p.m. Pacific time, where I talk about what the tip of the day is and things like that. So if you're looking for kind of a lunch break or whatever, and there, you can find them on YouTube later on. We add them to the blog posts on our Leanpub blog at leanpub.com/blog. You can watch the live streams there as well anytime. They're more or less evergreen because they're about these tips of the day. So there's also a YouTube playlist where you can go and you can sort of see. Now there's 3. There will be 4 an hour and a half from now after I do the next one. So they're just sort of like we have a lot of in-house knowledge that we've learned ourselves and that we've learned from interacting with authors from all around the world, doing all kinds of projects over the years. And yeah, Peter's showing you on the side there where you can go to sign up for the Lean Publishing Daily, where you can get these deals and these tips. The tip today is about reaching out to reviewers. It's an interesting kind of thing. Like, how do you get one way to get attention for your book is to get people to write about it. They're probably not going to. Some people might spontaneously write about your book. Other people are more likely to do it if you reach out to them and say, "Hey, here's a free coupon for a free copy of my book. It would be great if you if you're interested in reviewing it, let me know if you want any quotes, things like that." One thing that's very important if you're reaching out to people to review your book is, including if they're your friend or your parent or whatever, is to make sure that every outreach is personalized to them. If I had to give you one piece of advice about reaching out to journalists or what have you, or whoever, it's always have it be personalized. You don't want it to be or look like a form. I'm sure Peter will have opinions about that, but that can be as simple as the first line: "Hi, first name spelled correctly. I really enjoyed your recent something, like article, something or other. I thought this would be I thought you might be interested in what I wrote because it's relevant to you in the following way." So that's that. If you want to start a cold outreach email to someone to review your book, that's a really good way to do it.
So the one thing, jumping in here, I was just gonna riff on something somewhat less related to that, which is like lean publishing. So, that's kind of my focus. So Leanpub was created to help people do the lean, like authors do the lean publishing process. So what's lean publishing, right? Publish early, publish often, right? Publish your book while you're writing it. And so the nice thing here is, like, imagine you've created an amazing book. Like, say you're working really hard, you lock yourself in your basement for a year, or your shed or wherever you want to write, and you write a book for a year and then you're done. And then it's like, oh, now I have to market it, right? And say like you're going the self-published route, and you're going to use Leanpub or whatever, or just put it on Amazon or whatever you're doing. If you're starting your marketing when you're done your book, then you're starting from zero when you're done your book, right? Now, regardless of whether you like Leanpub is like, we make it super easy. If you're a Leanpub author, you know this. We make it super easy to publish. Like, you're writing in plain text, you click one button, the book exists. And, if you're shy, you've been clicking the preview button, right? But what and one of the things we like to emphasize all the time is don't be shy. But don't be shy isn't just don't be shy about, hey, outreach to people when your book is done. Don't be shy is also like, publish your book while you're writing it. And then if you do that, outreach about it while you're writing it. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, here's the thing about, here's the great thing about news, right? So Len was talking about contacting journalists. So journalists are supposed to be writing news. So what's, the first three letters of news? New. Something is new, right? This is why, like, if you think about traditional publishing, the book launch is so, like launching of the book is so important because it's like the only time in the entire lifespan of the book that it's news. And I mean, you can invent other things like, woo, we now crossed X amount of sales, right? So there's news there, right? Like, so you can have success around things like, so, but if you think about publishing in progress, every time you release an important update to your book, there's news. Hey, I just added a section on this thing now. Now it's news, right? And so, like, the idea is if you're going to publish in progress, make noise about it as you do it, right? And then, like, on social media and in, like, also, like, obviously Leanpub does lots of things here. Like, we have the ability to let your readers know, like, when you publish in progress. I mean, my first book I published in progress, and I remember at the end of the first week, I had 5 sales. And I was like, oh, I have to finish this book now. Like, I don't have a choice anymore. I can't give up, right? 5 people bought it. I can't lose face in front of the world, right? And so it's great. Like, we have, like, basically publishing in progress has all these benefits, but like, I grew it while it was in progress. I got about 1,000 readers all around the world on my little really niche thing about how to use like Adobe Flex with Ruby on Rails, right? Like, self-published, totally niche thing. I used Lulu because Leanpub didn't exist back then. And so, like, publishing in progress lets you iterate from, humble beginnings. I was literally nobody sitting in my basement in Maple Ridge, Canada, and, iterating in public, building in public, and your people, if you make enough noise about what you're doing in the right places, your people will find you, or more of them will find you. And then the relevant people who your book is news to can discover your book exists, right? And it's a gradual thing. Now, the other school of thought, like, if you're, like, say, doing the Alex Hormozi $100 million launch thing, well, great. Like, there's that approach too, right? To keep it completely locked down. Don't publish anything until it's fully done. And then the big thing. But the thing is, either way, there's all this marketing that's happening up to the launch of the book. One version of it, there's all this marketing up to the launch of the book, and then the book is, the launch is the big reveal. The other one, there's all this marketing up to the launch of the completed book. It's just you have readers along the way. Some people are more comfortable doing one approach. Some people are more comfortable doing the other. Like, I think probably it'd be a really interesting thought experiment to think, like, what would, if Alex Hormozi did his next book as an in progress book, would he make more or less money? It's interesting because, I have lots of thoughts about that, but that'd be a different live stream. I mean, I have nothing to teach him, obviously he's way better at marketing than I am, but there's some interesting, it's an interesting thought experiment, to think what would that version of in progress be. But that is a different live stream. We should do that as a live stream sometime. But anyway, yeah. Reach out to people as you write your book. Don't just, like, if you're publishing in progress, reach out to people as you go. So go ahead, Len.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, if you look at the bottom of that little tip, the sort of funny title there is "How to Market a Book You Haven't Published Yet," Part 1. And that's one of the really interesting things about Leanpub is it opens up all the lean publishing ideas. It opens up all these possibilities. For example, every time you publish a new version of your book, it's a new book launch.
Right.
And that's actually one of the things I've kind of had not been very good at communicating to authors. Like, I do these launch videos. We've done about 150 of them with authors. I think only one person has come on twice to do a launch video because they published a new version, or they did one part way when they were 50% done and did another one when they were completed. Every time you publish a new version of your book, like when you've got a substantial new version of your book, not fixing a typo, but like a new chapter, that is like a new book launch. And it's really, like, the thing is, one of the really hard things to do is to sort of, like, internalize how few of the 8 billion people in the world have ever heard of you and what you're doing. every single time you publish a substantial new version of your book, you've done something new. You've created something new. There's something new for people to discover about you and what you've done. All the people who've bought your book already will be excited about the new chapter and excited to hear about it. And for everybody else, this is a new thing to them. You've got something new to announce. Like, I would love to do like 5 launch videos for every in progress Leanpub book, right?
Would it be really
being the journey? Like, that would be great. But the sort of the hard thing to communicate is like the model that people who've thought about book publishing have in their heads is all this kind of one-off launch. With Leanpub, it's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay, cool. What else is, so let's leave this and move on to the newsletter itself. So, but actually before we do, it'd be really funny actually to do like Typo Tuesday, where we just have a live stream and we just like we should have some sort of like call in thing where authors just come in like to our live stream and be like, hey, like I literally fixed a typo. Check out my, new version of the book. Like it'd be funny to like do a thing where we were literally, any like no, regardless of how big or how small the release is, like, have you launched something this week? Come on our stream where we talk about it. It'd be an interesting thing. Obviously, like it wouldn't be for typos for most people, but okay. So speaking of launch videos, Len, this one.
Yes, that was with Marius Androni, who is a former Romanian soldier. He lives in Transylvania, and he's written this really excellent book. It's sort of funny. It's interesting. We talked about this in the launch video. So it's The Off-Grid Mindset, a modern survival and self-reliance handbook. Marius's key insight into kind of off-grid living if you're forced to by some kind of emergency, when the grid goes down, for example, and modern survival, is that the number one most important thing is other people. It's not you being alone. You will not be alone, probably, in an emergency. There will be all kinds of other people around you, and your relationships with them are going to be what determines your kind of, if you want to think of it in these terms, your success or failure in those circumstances. Knowing who the people are to the left and right of you and across the street and behind you, walking around your neighborhood, being known in your neighborhood. Those are the kinds, if you live in a city, those are the kinds of things. Thinking consciously about your relationship with the other people around you, how they see you, how you see them. This is one of the, like, he's got all kinds of other kinds of interesting tips as well. Like, for example, if you want to know how to respond to an emergency in your neighborhood, you need to walk your neighborhood regularly. Once every month or two, walk around your neighborhood at least. So you just know what's going on. Oh, there's a construction site over there. Oh, something over there, etc. So it's kind of like it both is what it looks like and is much more than that. This book.
It's interesting. So that sounds more like this thing here. The picture, the cover looks like, hobbits, but that sounds more like growing up in Saskatchewan, like rural Saskatchewan. Okay,
Peter and I are both from rural Saskatchewan, where yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah, we're from a city inside Saskatchewan.
Literally,
everything.
When I was a kid and we built the fence on my house, it was to the prairie.
Right.
Side of the fence. But anyway, yes, no, like what Peter's gesturing to there is, if you live in a place where you can die if you're outside for half an hour for 6 months of the year, you learn that cooperation with other people is actually one of the most important survival skills. But anyway, that's
exaggerating. It's only 3 months of the year where you can die.
That's true. But anyway, because of the cold, by the way, wondering, but yeah. So anyway, Marius's book, I highly recommend it if you're interested in someone who, learned about kind of survival, not from looking up cool go bags online, but from actually serving in the military, and like the things you learn there are not about being alone. That reminds me, I have to tell this sort of cool kind of. So I once in my travels met a guy who said he met a Navy SEAL in a bar, and this guy was British, and he said, "Who would win in a knife fight, you or an SAS guy?" And the Navy SEAL guy just looks at him and goes, "Why would I ever be without my gun?" And it was like the guy was teaching him a lesson. It's like, if you're a soldier, you're not, and you're just not going to be alone. And if you're a normal person, in a survival scenario, you're probably not alone unless you've made some big mistake and like got lost hiking or something like that. Like, you know, you're not going to be alone. And so keeping in mind your relationships with other people is actually one of the most important things when it comes to survival.
I actually like hiking alone and snowboarding alone. I like solitude.
It's like I said, make a mistake
depressing
when you're doing it alone.
Right.
Not doing.
No. But what I mean is, like, if I'm ever going to make a mistake hiking, I'm going to make that mistake hiking alone. It's like one of those things. Like, basically, you know, the things I enjoy doing. It's like, well, damn it, now I need other people again. Okay.
And that
Leanpub podcast.
So that was with Klaus Haller. This is one of those great books that make, you know, being at Leanpub such a pleasure. It just sort of popped up out of nowhere. Klaus had been working on this really great book for a long time. He's on the podcast. So I don't remember the exact details of it, but there's like these 4 pillars of cloud security architecture. One of the interesting things about Klaus's book is that Klaus kind of did a career change. So he'd done other things before he got into cloud security and software architecture. So he's sort of like teaching you from the perspective of someone who recently kind of changed their career to learn about this kind of stuff. So it's very kind of fresh and hands-on kind of book about. So if you're thinking, I want to like kind of shift my career, you know, maybe I want to go from like being a sysadmin to like kind of like, you know, all that kind of cool, interesting stuff, but I want to get into kind of cloud security side of things, this would be a really good book for you. And also if you're working for a smaller kind of like online platform and you're thinking of scaling someday, you'll read the book, you won't remember everything, but like some of the insights will stick with you about like what are the things you need to be worried about. And if you're ever in a meeting with your cloud security architect in the future, having read this book will serve you really well. Again, because it's kind of like coming at it from a kind of newcomer's perspective.
Cool. Awesome. And so for all this stuff, if you go to Leanpub and you just go here and you click on the button, it's funny. Last time I did this, we had some stupid MailChimp field. That's gone now.
Thanks to an author pointing out to us.
Thanks to an author mentioning.
So by the way, sorry to interrupt, but if you ever see anything on these videos that could be improved, you can please reach out to us. We want to hear from you.
It's hilarious how blind you are to stuff you do. Like added that dumb link and I clicked it and I didn't even notice that. And then you demo something, you're like, oh wait, and so if you want to get better, just demo things. But yeah, anyway, so in our YouTube channel, go here, subscribe, like all that business. And so go ahead.
Yeah, if you go to the YouTube channel, the For You, that one on the left there is the latest podcast episode. That's with Ed Abramowitz. I think we might have talked about this last week before publishing it, but that just got published the other day. Ed works as a consultant on very large capital projects, like $3 billion floating offshore drilling rigs and things like that. And he's like kind of at the cut. He's kind of like, he's so much at the cutting edge of how, you know, what we call AI nowadays is going to change the engineering phases of large projects, that he kind of had to write a book to try to get his ideas out there because basically it's really hard. This is what I gathered from our conversation. It's really hard to get kind of new ideas into big incumbent engineering processes for all kinds of very good reasons. And a lot of those are money, but a lot of those are also vested interests. And so what he's desperately trying to do is to say to these big, huge companies that work on these big, huge projects is like, you have to change how you think about the way you're doing engineering. You have to, or someone new is going to come along and they're going to be able to do in 5 months what takes you literally 5 years. Like, they're going to be able to do it. And so if you're working for one of these big companies, if you're the CEO of one of these big companies, and you want to know where the cutting edge is, or if you're just, I'm just interested in like projects that are going to get, you know, electricity generated by, you know, solar panels from Morocco to the UK. Like one point Ed makes, by the way, is that like 25% of annual GDP is kind of spent on large capital projects, and 98% of them go over schedule. like anyway, it's a really interesting book. It's and a very interesting podcast episode. So check that out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe, and see you guys next week.
Okay.